I wanted to talk to you in lunch about like power of friendship stories because they've been pissing me off.
Oh, cool. I want to. I'm game for that.
Okay,
It's
so
the big anime trope, power of friendship.
well, yeah, I guess I wanted to hear lunch's take on this. Maybe we'll retread this some other time in the future, but might as well talk about
Yeah,
it now if we
lunch
have
can.
nothing else.
Yeah, lunch can do a response video where he like he lambasts us for being friends
I guess I was just
and talk about the power.
yeah.
Talk about the power of friendship.
I mean, it involves me talking about Persona again, so because I think it wasn't entirely Atlas games, but it was a bunch of Atlas games like Persona 5 and DX2 and kind of Devil Survivor Record Breaker, which was a bad
Yeah.
game that kind of brought this on, but also like a bunch of just really bad kids TV shows and just a lot of things is that like and I think the thing that kind of hit this the most to me was Ace Attorney because Ace Attorney was actually like so basically what drives me crazy is I'm like playing Pokemon, I'm playing Shin Megami Tensei, and I'm playing all this shit, and it's always like, you don't know the power of friendship. Friendship will do all this stuff, and we can do this because of friendship and shit. And it's like all these power of friendship stories are so like transparent and frustrating because no matter how much these people say that they're friends, they never actually act like friends to each other. They're always dicks to each other and to everybody
Well,
else on the planet. And
well,
it's like, oh, we're
I'll
such
say
good
that.
friends.
Well, I'll say this. Like any trope, it's always about the execution, not the actual trope. Power of a power of friendship story can sort of work or can work if the friendship feels deserved or the friendship feels earned. Something like in Persona 4, for example, where the game like you spend so much time with these characters actually bonding, you believe this friendship, so that when at the end when you're powered up because of all the Nakamo you've made along the way, like it is a bit more like well, also I think it works thematically well because in that case, it's your friends, it's all the bonds and the friendships you've made that's allowing you to see the truth and see through the fog. Like that's what I think the power of friendship works in that case.
Well, that story doesn't like to me like I've noticed that thing too is that a lot of stories that actually have real power of friendship themes to them never really point attention to it, which is why these power of friendship stories bother me so much. Like when I say power of friendship stories, I don't mean the trope. I mean a story where the main characters won't stop ragging on about it specifically. Basically what I was saying was that like when I say the phrase power of friendship stories, I'm not talking about a story that actually is about friendships and stuff. I'm talking about a story that won't stop ragging on about power of friendship, like DX2 and Persona 5 and stuff. For example, just so for really
Okay,
catch all examples, because those games they just keep talking about that. It's because we're friends and teams and this and that and blah blah blah. And you couldn't beat us
uh,
because you were alone and all that stuff. And it's like, but they're so transparent, it pisses me off.
well, I think to that extent, like I think probably from one thing is friends don't talk about how great of friends they are.
Yeah,
It's sort of a like you can have a power of friendship story without like talking about friends like 100% of the time.
I that's what I'm
But
saying, and like I brought up Ace Attorney at the very beginning, and it's like Ace Attorney is the one that kind of threw me into this conversation because it is a great power of friendship story, and it never even kind of like tries to wear that title. It never goes like, look at how great these characters' relationships are. It just shows it because that's all
yeah,
you need to do, and like Phoenix Wright is technically a character who has like who gets as far as he does because of his power of friendship and cooperation and stuff, but he never like says that because he doesn't need to. You just see the relationship he has with Maya and Larry and Edgeworth and Gumshoe and all these people.
yeah, and how and how he like forges these relationships with these prosecutors who like are incredibly like who it starts off with them having like this abrasive relationship, and then he basically warms them up and then has a cup of coffee with them before sending them off to jail.
He only did that with one. But yeah,
I
like
know.
Bridge to Turnabout was really strange, and I know you didn't like it very much, but
And
it really does show like how all these guys are like really pulling for Phoenix and and everything that's
I,
happening.
I don't like Bridge to a Turnabout. I don't like it because of the problems with T and like the trials and tribulations as a whole. I feel like there are things about it that do work and could work, but it inherits a lot of the narrative problems from the game. Like I can say it work. I think it works better as an individual case than as the conclusion of the trilogy, and especially the third game.
Yeah. But at the same time, I do feel like it kind of shows just how far Phoenix Wright has come and just how much people trust him and he trusts them and stuff. And again, too, at no point do they ever exchange a line of dialogue where they're like, "Wow, Nick, look at how much friends you have, and think about how you
Yeah.
used to be and all that garbage."
But it's treating the audience with like a level of respect of maturity.
Yeah,
Like no one like when you're watching a kids cartoon or a kids anime,
yeah.
like when they do power friendship thing, you don't care because you know that the audience is for kids
No, I get mad
who
at that
need things
even.
spelled out for them.
I even get mad at it for kids
Oh,
shows because then I point at good kids shows like Teen Titans, and I'm like, hey, remember how many times they harped on them being friends? Like, not very often. They did do it, but not very often. And then you have like modern kid shows, and it's like, yes, this
yeah,
is the
no, but
power of friendship, kids. And then they turn to the camera and they wink and give a thumbs up,
I
and I
would
throw up.
I I'm very hesitant calling Teen Titans specifically a quote unquote kids show.
Okay, fair
Um,
enough.
like I'm talking about kids show. I'm talking about like 4 or 5, not 8 to 9. I think if you're eight, like if you're 8 or above, you don't need the whole like power of friendship thing. I'm thinking more like toddler
Well, I'm not
level.
watching toddler shows. I'm
Yeah, I know.
watching shows for kids.
The other thing that you need to remember, especially with Japanese media, is that there's an um, entirely different social
I know that.
social reality over there.
Yeah, I know that.
So
That like.
when you're looking,
Sorry.
yeah, well, like because like in Japan, it's very much put the community in your like you put your community above yourself, and so that's why you see a lot of these like power of friendship things. It's like you're getting strength from your community. Where in the West, you see a lot more because Western ideology is a lot more individualistic. You
Mm.
see a lot more stories where your characters um, are celebrated for what makes them different and special, and not from what their friends are. And so, like, so I guess you see a lot more be yourself stories over here, and don't get tied down by the man. And in Japan, you see a lot more power of friendship, better in the community, sacrifice yourself, self-sacrifice, whatever,
Eh.
and seeing people sacrifice themselves for each other.
I understand the
And
communal differences, but I also maintain my point pretty much based on like I think the reason why I get so mad at so many like bad things that are bad kind of games and stuff and media that are like modern is because a lot of these people have done better. So that's why I hold them
yeah,
to a higher standard. I get that's part of why I just keep harping on P5 so much because it's like you guys made really good games and this is like a game that is disgustingly
I
in
think
every way.
no. I'm gonna say this. And I think especially like in P5s, because power of power of friendship is like when you see characters talking about that. I feel like it's a lot more like not like it's padding because they either didn't have time to finish the story, B didn't like were forced to do so many rewrites or whatever, or they had so many people working on like you've lost control of the story you were trying to write. So you power of friendship is a very easy way to bring together a story that that is incredibly messy and give it one focal point because power of friendship is universal. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you have characters that are friends, quote unquote,
Yeah.
characters that hang out over. When you have characters that hang out, you can lean on the power of friendship trope to bring a sense of conclusion and finality if you have no idea how just give like if you have no idea how to bring things together at the point of a product's ending.
Well,
I
yeah.
fucking destroyed myself with that sentence.
Hey, it's all right. I also died.
Yeah, I killed you with that terrible sentence.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that I don't like bad stories.
I
And
don't like
that
that story.
if
Well,
power of friendship is something that
I
you can so easily slot into any story, then that just kind of proves how flimsy it is.
yeah. Well, and I think it's also dependent on what you're getting out of a story and what's the purpose of a story, like of the story. So if you're watching some like shonen bullshit where it's more about the hype moments, if you're watching your Sword Art Onlines, your Naruto's, your Hero
Naruto
Academia's, or
actually isn't all that
the
bad about power of friendship crap.
yeah, oh you know, but the reason why Naruto is not, I would say Naruto is not as bad at the power of friendship stuff is a the story is literally about Naruto becoming friends with people. Like it makes sense for his character arc. And I think that's partially why like Naruto's one of those. I think one of the anime that popularized power of friendship in more more adult media
Hmm.
because Naruto, as a character, was an outside loner who wanted attention, who wanted friends, and his entire arc through 500 episodes of TV was, 500 plus episodes of TV was to prove himself and become respected. And as someone who was a loner, he's someone who's gonna respect his friend, like he's gonna have a greater find a greater importance in friendship. So his obsession with his friends makes sense.
Hmm.
But then you got Persona 5, where you don't really believe these people are friends. The game's like, and then the game starts harping about friendship near the end.
I always said like that ending bit. Actually, I've never said this on camera before, but like that ending bit where Joker shoots the big guy was
Mm-hmm.
so surreal to me because, well, part for many reasons, but part of it was because like he just does it, and it's like
Yeah,
for as much of this for as much as this game seems to harp on friendship and stuff, it's like kind of indicative that Joker does everything. We're such good
yeah.
friends that we make our
Well,
leader do all of the work all the time, and whenever we need help
yeah.
with anything, we just make him do it.
Mm.
That's friendship,
Well,
everybody.
yeah, but let's compare this to three. Let's compare this to 3 and 4, where 3 it's really it's a game of self. It's not that it's like you're sacrificing yourself for your friends at that point,
Yeah.
and then and then in 4 it's not you're doing everything. It's that your friends have because of your friendships you have matured and you're able to do this thing. With 5, there's no level of it's because of everybody else that you're doing this. It's just Joker's had this in him this whole time.
Yep. Uh, this somehow turned into a stealth Persona 5 rant again.
Ah! Oh yeah, we gotta quit while we're ahead.
That's
This
right.
has been
Surprise,
Bros Banter.
everybody! It was our last surprise. This was a
You
P5
never
rant on the
saw it
log.
coming. Yeah. Anyway, Persona 1 has better character arcs than Persona 5. Bye.
Oh,